Hey there, Diane with CompleteMarketingSystems.com. I'm excited, I hope you are, to start the sessions on Diane's Dozen. And I'm calling it Diane's Definites, but you can call it whatever you want. The 12 things that you need to sort of be successful in life and business that I think college sports is relatable as parallel, if you will, as far as business goes. So we're going to start off with number one, and it's probably going to be one of the ones of many for some of you that you like, oh, Diane, we knew you were going to say that, right? First of all, so number one is success follows discipline. Success follows discipline. In other words, the more disciplined you are, the more successful you'll be. How do I know that? Well, and where does that come from, right? So here's the thing that I know for sure. There are a lot of things in life and in sports that we don't necessarily want to do, right? So one of the things when I was in college, we lifted weights on our own, right? We had to go to the weight room and we lifted on our own time, right? Now it's different. But back then, if you were going to do a weight routine, you did it between classes or when you fit it in kind of thing, right? And a lot of my teammates, a lot of the female athletes especially, remember this is years ago, didn't enjoy lifting and didn't see the benefit. And so many of them, I'm just being honest, would go in and write in the form that what they did and not lift a single weight. Now, let me tell you, it wasn't convenient. At the University of Missouri, the athletic facility, the football facility, is where the weight room was. That was the only one, and it was from where I lived. It was the other side of campus, and I didn't have a car as a freshman, so it was a hike to get over there. It wasn't convenient, but success rarely is, right? And so fast forward for me to today, right? These are they're running shoes, but I use them to walk in, and I'm a big Hoka fan. This isn't an advertisement for Hoka, but I'm not a cardio fan. I will lift those weights in the gym for hours. I love it. This is a chore, but I need to do it, right? And so here's the piece is the discipline makes me do it. It's plain and simple, right? And I don't necessarily, by the way, you don't do cardio just to lose weight. You do cardio for heart health, but that's a whole other thing that we'll get into later. But here's the piece. The more disciplined you are in your business, I've worked with a lot of business owners over the 30 plus years of my career. And the one thing that I know is if they're struggling, if we look at what they're doing on a daily basis, they're undisciplined. They don't have specific things. They don't have that specific goal in mind. But the discipline comes in, it's really simple for me. It's 9 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. My calendar says work on the newsletter. So that's what I do, right? I'm disciplined based on that. I have developed over the years routines that work for me. Here's the piece that I will tell you right up front. I have people ask me all the time, well, show me how you organize your day. And I do. I'm more than happy to show, right? Here's the problem. It works for Diane. It doesn't necessarily work for you. I had one client who I was showing this in a group mastermind several years ago, and I could tell by the look on her face like something was wrong. And so I said, what's up? And she's like, I couldn't do that. Like, I need more free-flowing time. I need more creative time. She was an artist and a creative person. And I said, well, then you do what works for you, right? And that's the piece, is I'm very visual. And so I have two 26-inch monitors on my desk in my office. And one I work on is the one in front of me. The one to this hand, right, is the one that I keep my calendar up on, the one there that I do research on, right? And so I'm constantly reminded. I have a business associate who I do some things with now who says, Diane has never been late to a meeting. No, I won't. It's respect, right? But it's also the discipline of working my schedule and my day into a way that works for me, into a way that I can be on time, right? And so it's much more than just being on time. The more disciplined you are, the more productive you will be. Let me say that again. The more disciplined you are, the more productive you will be. right? Because here's the piece. Most people go through their lives being accountable to someone that makes them disciplined, right? When you had a job, or if you still do, would you get out of bed in the morning and go to work if you didn't have somebody there waiting on you, right? If it wasn't expected. Why do you do it? You do it because you're disciplined, I call by default. Well, when you own your own business and you're an entrepreneur, guess what happens? You don't have that accountability anymore. And so discipline can very easily go out the window. I said to a client many years ago, I want you to glue your butt to the chair from, you choose, right? Again, I'm not the dictator here. It's your business. 8 in the morning till 4, 9 to 3, whatever the hours are, but I want you to glue your butt in the chair and sit there and work. Be productive. Not busy, productive, right? Busy is a drug people are addicted to instead of being productive. It's all about productivity. If you can get everything you need to get done in an hour or 2 hours in a day, good, you're done, right? But 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks after we had this conversation, she called me and said, I've scheduled my first vacation in 6 years. I've been so productive in the last 2 weeks, and she doubled her income just because she made herself sit in her chair. And look, it's easy, right? You look over, especially those of us that work at home. Oh, that needs to be dusted. Oh, I need to do the dishes. Oh, I need to, right? Especially women. You have to figure out what works for you and work within that discipline, because again, here's what I know. And this came from sports, because you had to be at practice. You had to, you had to do things independently. If all you did as an athlete was what you did at practice, you'd never be in great shape. You would never be on an elite level. You would never play at the college level if that's all you ever did, if you didn't do your own conditioning. It's the same in business. You can't just lollygag through your day. You have to be disciplined. And so that there are going to be things in your, what I call non-negotiables. What are the 3 to 5 non-negotiables in your business that you need to do every day? And these are specific things, not this or that. What are the non-negotiables in your business that you have to do every day? If you do that and you do it first, as Brian Tracy would say, eat the frog, do the hard thing first, you'll be amazed at what will happen in your business. I know it's a D word, Diane and her D words, right? Discipline. Add a little discipline in your life and you'll be amazed. I would encourage you to go do some research on some of the old, what I call the older coaches, right? The Pat Summits, the Gino Ariemas, the Coach Woodens in the world, and see the kind of things that they expected of their players. Pat had rules. No hats in class. You couldn't have a tattoo showing and play for her. You had to sit in the first 3 rows, right? Why? She was developing habits and she was developing discipline in them, even in their classrooms. What can you do in your business today, this week, to be more disciplined so that you can increase the productivity, which then will increase your profits? This is all about doing business better. Step 1 of Diane's dozen is success follows discipline. Until next time, make it a great day. By the way, if you want a copy of the 12, I almost forgot, go to dianesdozen.com, and there's a really nice little sheet that you could hang or do whatever you wanted with it, but you can get all 12 of them there. All right?